I just finished the book Alaska by James Michener, and I believe it was written in 1985. This is what's left of it. It's 1,076 pages? 1,073. 1,073 pages. This guy had a lot to say, and it started from the beginnings of Earth, like how Earth was formed and Alaska was formed on the Earth, and then people who crossed over the Aleutian Islands, and then the developments that happened, and he went up until about 1991, I think. He pushed a little bit beyond after the date of the publishing of the book, and talked about how there was a treaty that was coming to an end at about 1991, which will help Alaska flourish. He gave a lot of stories of a lot of different people, and it's interesting how he developed characters early on and then killed them off right on the pages. You learn some people's entire lives, and it's supposed to be fiction, and I never researched if any of these people actually existed, but he's given an amazing detail on individuals' entire lives, and then go into detail on how they died. Even one Eskimo lady who was an Aleutian, she died in one of the springs, one of the bathhouses. It was a hot springs. She just died as an old lady, pretty much. And you could see that the stories seemed a little shorter in the early days with caveman people who crossed over the Aleutian Islands and settled. Those stories were a little bit shorter. He couldn't give much detail with them, and he had to skip a number of years in between the lives of some of the people he presented back then. In comparison to the more modern day people in the 1800s, somewhat the 1700s, 1900s, there was a lot more detail of the people's lives and how they all intertwined. And more characters came into the story later, just because the population was growing. We learn of Alaska's turbid, torrential, just in many ways violent, but also quite calm and steady going history. Indians, the Tlinglets, warring with other Alaskans. The Russians handing over Alaska to America in a sale because the Russians were at war and needed to build up more money at the time. The formation of the Alaska statehood in the 1950s, and the details that went into that were quite interesting. The arguments that the statehood that they made to bring Alaska into the nations, the United Nations, United States. It's a lot of interesting detail with individuals, like conversations in the back and forth, ideas being shared, and conflicts being brought forth, rivalries and stuff. You really get a sense of what it must have been like to live at that time and around those particular people. The gold rush, that was interesting. Those were the early cities that just they exploded on the scene, and then when the gold was gone, they became instant ghost towns. The shipping industry, the salmon industries, and how the salmon industry developed. They actually cooked the salmon in the cans. There's a lot of interesting detail, but it's very personable with giving these people the personalities, the religious tendencies, their love for the lands, and the sights that they could see. Watching a glacier burst in the springtime forth with water or something. It's really epic.